Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, Liz, how you
Hello.
doing?
Hey, Russ. I'm doing good today. Yourself?
Happy Tuesday. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Happy
And I'm super
Tuesday.
excited about today's show because we got a celebrity in the house and
We
we're going to have a
do.
great
We
conversation.
do. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. We're going to tell you talking children's books and coloring books and even comic books here. So this is episode 42. We're very excited to be into 40 episodes for the author adventure. We're here every Tuesday at 5 p.m. and Central Standard Time. So come back here every week and hear these great interviews that we're doing with different authors. And today, Russ, I was going to share a little marketing secret. I was going to share one of our marketing secrets because I think you're going to do the interview with our guest, and I may jump in and out, but because it's going to be a
Well,
fun conversation, I know.
all about sharing the secrets because that's what the author adventure is about, is the idea that you are the media. You have the ability to present and publish anytime, anywhere. And that's what we love to encourage you to do is share your gifts, share your message, put it in a book, get it out there. There's somebody out there waiting for it. So Liz, what are you going to share with us today?
That's it. So we're going to talk today about a free Amazon author page. It's astonishing to me how many books I click on when I go to Amazon. When you go to Amazon and you're looking for somebody's book, they give you a product page. And on that product page is the cover of your book, the title of the book, the author, if there's an illustrator, and then the description of the book. If you've been to Amazon and bought a book on Amazon, you know what I'm talking about. Well, the author's name is going to be in blue. There's a blue line. Anything that has a blue line, that means that's supposed to be a hyperlink. That's supposed to be a link that you can click on that will take you somewhere else. Well, if you have your Amazon author page set up, which is author.amazon.com, this is a separate page that you have to set up. Amazon does not do this for you. It's always something that we do as a part of our process when we work with somebody. But when you click on that author's page, that name, it should take you to an author page. Like if you click on our book, our author adventure, 5 Secrets to Success, on right here behind me on my shoulder. If you click on that book in Amazon or search that book, our product page comes up. If you click on my name, it's going to take you to my author page, and it's going to show you the other 14 books that I have. And you might want to buy one of those books. If you click on that name and it just goes to another list of products, other people's books, maybe your book, but mostly other people's books, it means you don't have your author page set up. And I was just scrolling through some other authors and some people that we've worked with or some people we've had on our show the other day. And, I was really astonished that when I clicked on the links that they went nowhere. They did not go to the author page. This is a free option that Amazon offers you. So every author, if you're listening to this, you need to be sure that you figure out how to set up your Amazon author page. And if you need help with that, you can call us, you can email us, you can find us at theauthoradventure.com. You can go to our website today and connect with us, put in your email. You can get our 7 steps to organizing your writing project. And we're very excited that we're going to be offering a 5-day writing challenge here shortly. And all of that's going to be available to you too. So that's the tip for today. Use the free things that are available to you as an author that will help promote you and help get the word out about your books and about your author adventure. So that's it for today. So I am very excited for us to be having our friend Merrie Spaeth. Merrie is going to launch a new children's book. She's actually launching on Sunday. So y'all are going to get kind of a jump on the Baby Bear Comes Back story here. So let's bring Merrie up. Why don't you, Russ?
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here, Merrie. I appreciate
Hey, Russ.
your
Hey, Liz.
time.
Of course.
The funny thing about this is we actually had an opportunity to meet in person. And usually I have so many of these guests on the show that I've never met in person. And fortunately, we're one that have actually had an opportunity to sit down and tell stories and exchange some information. So thank you so much for joining us today, Merrie.
Well, I appreciate the exposure, and it's nice to see everybody and say hello.
Yeah, so that's great. So we're going to be talking about Merrie's got a new book. This is a generational kind of family story. I think when we start talking about this, you're gonna go, oh yeah, okay, that I had one of those, or my family did that same thing. So why don't we do that, Merrie? We kind of always start with, how did you get into this writing? Because you've actually been a writer for a long time, haven't you?
I've been a writer for a long time. I started writing when I was 5 or 6 years old, the first poems. And I actually thought I was going to be a poet until I graduated from college. I was chosen, actually, Russ and Liz, as one of the young poets of New York in 1970 and 71. And then I ran smack into what modern poetry was turning into, which was stuff that Robert Frost would not recognize. And I landed a job at the Philadelphia Inquirer as an intern reporter. Great job. I mean, this is so long ago. The movie critic had seen my first movie, The World of Henry Orient, and he said, we have an internship program and you like to write, you ought to go apply. So I went down to talk to John Gillen, who was the editor. I remember vividly, it's so long ago, but and he looked at me and he said, it would be nice to have a girl. We've never had a girl before. If you ever wonder if we've made progress, it's stories like mine. Like, we made a lot of progress.
Since then, yeah.
Like
so
breaking barriers even before you knew you were breaking barriers, huh?
Well, a long time ago, but
yeah.
And so I started writing, moved to New York, and without boring all your listeners to death, kept writing. And mostly what I have written over my life are things like opinion pieces. I've written for the Wall Street Journal and for Bloomberg News and for Forbes, and that's most of what I do. Or I work for my clients and I help them write. I had the great privilege of being the speechwriter for William Paley, the legendary CEO of CBS, for a couple of years. And that was really a great. So I've had all these different experiences, but this is my first foray into writing something that's a children's book.
I love that. I love that. So the story behind this story in this children's book is fascinating, and I kind of want to dive into it because it's a story that started over 30 years ago with an actual bear, and the fact that this bear was loved and adored by an individual, and then all of a sudden it came back into your life. And so give us the backstory on how this started and what prompted you to think about writing a story about this.
Well, a story, which, you've got 3 great images up. When Philip, the little boy in the image that's on my right, came home from the hospital, baby bear, who's sitting there with his yellow bow and his nice smile, and he has his nose, was waiting for me. And he had a device in that went boom, 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 boom. It was supposed to simulate the mother's heart. And whether it was the device or not, that animal became that stuffed animal. Philip had so many animals. You wondered how he fit in the crib. And at one point we had 40 of them. I counted them. But this one was the favorite. And he was around. He went everywhere with Philip, under his arm. And we had some extremely fun adventures, which we write about in the book. And then when Philip got to about 7 or 8, at the age when kids start to move from, at least in those days, to different kinds of toys, they went into a box. There were a bunch of them. And the box stayed there for, 25 years, following us around from house to house with a whole bunch of boxes. And then when Philip and Megan, my middle son and his wife's first daughter, was born, Martha, Philip was digging around and he found the box, and out came baby bear. And Martha, who was same thing, just a couple of days old, but baby bear became her one animal too. So out of all these, same thing, scores of stuffed animals, baby bear became the favorite. And over the years, you have a celebrity. Well, here he is.
Yeah.
See,
missing a nose, but
we've lost a nose,
yeah,
and we sort of
lost our ribbon.
added
sort
some
of
character.
lopsided.
Yeah,
But Big Bear went everywhere with Martha. I have read to Martha, who's now 7.5, since since the day she came home from the hospital.
Mhm.
And I was looking for something to do with her that was aimed at storytelling or loving stories and writing. And so for her birthday in January, I did a first draft of Baby Bear Comes Back. I took a couple pictures on my phone camera, printed them out, and put it into a binder. And she loved it. And so I said, fine, we'll publish it. I happen to know a publisher who can help us, and we'll publish it together. That's how we got started on it. And it was Liz who suggested the coloring book along with it. And of course, that was just made so much sense because little kids love coloring books. And so that's how Baby Bear Comes Back came to be. And it's sort of a true life story, told as you would tell a child. We've cleaned up some of the messy bits.
Yeah, for sure. So it is. So the stories, you get some adventures. They go different places. They're involved in different things. We've got these
Mhm.
wonderful illustrations, as you can see, and so it's really for if your kids are reading early and you've been reading with them. They may be 4 or 5. If they're not good readers, they're still going to love this story just because of the subject matter, because it's about bears and about animals and about families and friendship and love and all of those exciting things. So we're very excited to be launching that on Sunday, and we
Well,
know people are going to just love this book.
Well, I hope that they'll like it and read it as Martha and I read it, because she now reads. In fact, she is so verbal. The other day she said to me, Grammy, are you old or are you ancient? So it depends on the day. But she'd say she loves words. But she's used to having people read to her and read. But we read, we're working our way through Nancy Drew, which has actually got lots of words in it that are people, if they think they're much older than the things that are pitched at kids today, but we'd see a word like perambulate, and then we'd say, what do you think that word means? Let's talk about that word. And so we would introduce not, a raft of new words, but words I'm thinking that I think kids love words. And the object is to introduce them. That's an interesting sounding word. What do you think that word means?
Yeah.
And then to identify them and keep going. But Baby Bear, maybe I flatter myself, Russ and Liz, but Baby Bear's had some interesting adventures. One of them, Philip, was at 2.5. He went off to be the ring bearer in his godmother's wedding. And it was a very big wedding with 1,000 people. And the rehearsal dinner in a private home went great. But then they get to the actual ballroom of the Plaza Hotel with all these people. The flower girl sits down, bursts into tears, turns the basket of flowers over. Philip looks at her, sits down. Okay. And the bride's mother said, no, just go sit in the front seat in the front row with the family. So we trundle down. I'm wearing my only ball gown and my only real set of high spike heels that I can barely walk in. So we get down there. The wedding was absolutely fabulous. And Emily comes down, his aunt comes down the aisle. His godmother comes down the aisle. And Philip, who says, what could this possibly be? What could possibly be? It must be her birthday. Happy birthday to you. And there were 2 film crews at this wedding. One of them was permanently in front of us.
Oh.
Okay. So the wedding goes on and on and on. And Philip's 2.5, and he says, I want my bear. I said, shh. He goes, I want my bear. His father and I go, shh. He goes, I want my bear.
Oh my gosh.
I brought her down the aisle. I grabbed the bear. Actually, I've cleaned up this part of it, Russ, because I took the bear. I said, here's your bear. Take the bear. But Baby Bear had a lot of adventures with Philip, and he has turned about to have a lot more with Martha. And as Liz has said so eloquently, when you start talking to people, everybody had a bear or a rabbit or a blanket or something that was special to them, and many of them have survived.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about this, Merrie, is the fact that it's so relatable. And the thing that we all can appreciate is if parents take the time to read to their kids and the kids evolve into a love of reading and understanding words and understanding language and everything that goes along with that. It's kind of like taking the bear. You graduate with that comfort level, and you understand that, hey, this relates to some of the best experiences I've had. So taking that bear and that attachment and turning it into a story and a coloring book gives the opportunity for kids of multiple ages to get involved in that process. And I love what you were saying about Nancy Drew and how, you figure out words and you can actually explain things in a way that just brings people into the environment of reading books and understanding language and story, the collection of story. And I know you are a storyteller from the word go. I mean, you've written so many adventures, and also some of the things that are up and coming in your future. You've got some activities coming on. So maybe you can speak to the comic book piece of the puzzle and also the Comic-Con that's coming up.
Well, I guess Russ and Liz, you never get away from your past. I
It always comes back.
I said, I worked for the Philadelphia Inquirer, but then I wanted to be a serious writer.
Yeah.
So I moved to New York, and I actually got a couple of really good writing assignments right away. And one day I was sharing an apartment with somebody I'd gone to college with, and I'm working away. And the air conditioner goes out. And of course, in midsummer in New York, that's a disaster. So up comes the building handyman. And he says, "Are you a writer?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And he said, "Well, I illustrate the Smokey the Bear books. Would you ever be interested in writing Smokey?" I said, I'm in, sure. So they gave me an introduction to Gold Key Publishing. I marched myself down there. Actually, I rode my bike down there with my my white sneakers. And they said, "Well, we need writers for, not so much for Smokey the Bear, but for Grimm's Ghost Stories and Boris Karloff. Can you write things like that?" I said, "Absolutely, sure." And I paid $10 a page, and I had my monthly expenses figured out in terms of how many comic book pages I needed to churn out. And I did that for a couple of years. And then I put it behind me. And it stayed there until about 5 years ago when I got this email from somebody that said, "Are you the same Merrie Spaeth that was in the World of Henry Orient? And did you ever write the Superman comics?" And it turns out there's this following of this great movie I did, The World of Henry Orient, and comic book people, and they're sort of both, what's the right affectionate word for them, very passionate, and they overlap.
Yeah.
But
And somebody who had seen Henry Orient was talking to somebody. Anyway, my name came up, so I said, "No, I never wrote Superman, but I did write Boris Karloff and Grimm's Ghost Stories." So immediately I started getting fan mail. And they said, "We want you to come to Comic-Con." And I said, basically, "I've heard of it." So, COVID intervened, but sure enough, this spring, an invitation arrives via email, and I'm going to Comic-Con to do a spotlight and a panel. This is just the three of us talking.
Yeah.
I remain highly dubious that anybody's actually going to want to come and see me. But Henry Orient, which is this charming movie with Peter Sellers that I did, is a Turner Classic movie. And I went out to the West Coast for Turner a couple of years ago for its 50th anniversary. And I had a handler, and we had a screening, and I walked the red carpet, or in my case, in high heels, I tottered the red carpet. And the way they have these things set up, there's like a bleachers at the end of it with a couple hundred people. And so I go up to them, and I say, "Hi," and they say, "Hi, Gilbert." That's my name in the movie, right? And they said, they knew all the dialogue. So they said, "Do the smoking scene." So I would do the smoking scene. And then they'd say, "Do the handkerchief scene where you get to." So, but they knew all the dialogue. So I thought, isn't this a wonderful country? There are people out there, and they really have made us. So I'm hoping that some of them show up at Comic-Con. Of course, my big question is, a lot of people dress like their characters. I am not dressing like Dark Shadows.
Or like Gilbert.
Yeah. Well, You know, the beauty of that, Merrie, in that story is the fact that there is a place for every author because authors have audience. You know, the fact that you created something in different parts of your life and the connection between those individual activities came together, and all of a sudden now you're joining a community that is still appreciative and enthusiastic about connecting with you. So I just think that's an amazing thing when you stop and imagine, okay, you're creating something now that could be legacy forever because there are people that enjoy and appreciate that content.
Yeah, and 50 years from now, we don't know where Baby Bear Comes Back is going to be because, like you say, I mean, we didn't really kind of mention up front, but Merrie basically was a teenager when she was in this movie, with Peter Sellers and Angela Lansbury, and of course, and we just lost Angela recently, so that movie is going to be played over and over again. The same thing. These people, Merrie was very nice, passionate. These people are rabid about this comics. I mean, there are people that had bought comics from the time they were little kids or 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. It was the first thing they ever read. And they have all their copies. They have kept their copies over the years. And I mean, what they think there's going to be 13,000 people at this conference, right, Merrie? At this Comic Con.
A lot of people, yeah, it's going to be a lot. Russ and Liz, as you both know, we've been experimenting with doing an introductory comic book of sort of Baby Bear behind the scenes. I am, as both of you knew, because I went with you, I had the great pleasure of going with you to the Texas Library Conference, book conference. What is that, about 6 weeks ago now, Liz?
Yep.
And it was a great experience. But one of the things that was interesting with a number of librarians who said, kids are reading a lot, but they really, if we can get them interested in graphic novels, that's one way of slotting them into more reading. And really, what is a graphic novel except a comic book?
Right.
Yeah.
And the comic books it's so funny though. Comic books they are, I think by their very nature, designed to be the first thing that people consume. It's so funny when I dug out the ones that I had written from half a century ago, they still have the price tags on them, 15 cents and 20 cents.
Right. That's right. Yeah. And that's the thing about it, so people are excited. People do follow these things. They have these copies of all the issues of all the stories that were written. And, now a lot, like you say, a lot of them have been lost because we didn't put them in, in plastic bags, or we didn't know how to, we didn't understand that things would fall apart. We've lost a lot of great movies, films, in addition to books, because we didn't understand preservation in the past, but now we do. So going forward, you're going to see a lot more of that. So we are excited too. We are working on the comic book, and we're going to send a sample out with Merrie when she goes out to San Diego in July, and she's going to pick up a whole different audience there. And that's the other thing. If you're writing and publishing, or you want to write a book, there are multiple audiences. Like Merrie's finding out. Yes, she's got the children's book that'll be coming out. Baby Bear Comes Back. There's a companion coloring book that's going along with that. Now we're doing backstory with a comic book. They're going to probably be follow-up stories, because basically, we hate to say this, but it's a cliffhanger. Baby Bear Comes Back is a cliffhanger. It's like, what happens next? The rest of the story hadn't been told yet because Martha's still growing and Martha's still 7. And so, it's exciting stuff, but I think it's everybody can relate, I think, to this story. So I think Merrie's going to find a big audience for that. She's going to find these multiple audiences because, like you say, once somebody likes something that you do, and then you've got other stuff that you do, a percentage of those people are going to transfer over, and they're going to want to follow that too. So, well, Merrie, what would you, if somebody was kind of starting out, or somebody was just doing, because a lot of the people that watch our show are kind of new to this publishing. Is there any good advice that you would give them, or maybe is there something that surprised you, or something that was the biggest challenge, so people know what to expect? Because everybody's adventure is different, and we just want people to hear different perspectives.
Well, some of my advice I think sounds very platitudinous, of Liz, which is basically just do it,
Yeah.
you know, which I think is a famous athletic saying, just,
Just do it.
just do it, just
There's a
start.
swish involved with that something.
One of the things that really, I'm not sure surprise is the right word, Liz, or maybe Russ and Liz pleasantly surprised me, though, is how much goes into publishing and how much I didn't know. I started, Russ, I think you may know this, but your audience may not. I started to work with Liz because we'd gone to church together. And I knew about her publishing background, and I knew about her Western cowboy series. I was always impressed with them. So I figured I'd call her up and ask for advice. And I feel enormously fortunate that I just fell into her arms because it's extraordinarily helpful to have somebody who knows what they're doing.
Oh yeah, a
I
guide by
don't
your
know why
side.
I don't know why
Yeah.
I should be so surprised by that, because that's what we tell our prospective clients all the
What,
time.
all the-
Like, we know what we're doing and that will be very helpful. But wandering into this, it has made the process much more efficient, much quicker. I think we've avoided a number of major pitfalls. Plus, it's actually just nice to have somebody to work with to say, "What do you
Yeah.
think of this?" And did I miss that? Or to have somebody say, you might want to think about this. So I think we've turned out a much better, I feel, pardon me, the word product, um,
Mhm.
as a collaborative effort, and that's been just an enormous joy.
Yeah, and that's the fun part of it too for authors, because a lot of times writing is kind of a solitary thing with a lot of people. They like the writing piece of it, and they do all the writing, and then they wake up and go, "Oh, you mean I've got to publish?" And then a little bit later, they go, "Oh, you mean I got to market or sell this book? I got to tell somebody I have a book." Well, yeah, and so that's why we say 5 secrets, because we think launching is another piece, and distribution. Because marketing is promoting the book, distribution actually selling it to somebody. Who's that buyer? And it is
Yeah.
a process, and so it takes a while, and I it takes more than a week or a weekend if you really want to put out a good product. But the author adventure is a journey, and you got to have fun along the way. And I think it's been fun for me. I hope it's been fun for you. And I know we have challenges. We had a challenge finding an illustrator, and that's usually the hardest thing for a children's book. But this bear is so cute that we just got
It's
to
been
tell
fun.
his story.
It's been a lot of fun, Liz and Russ. Let's do more.
It's fantastic. I truly enjoy the fact that, one of the things that Liz and I really resonate with is the joy of seeing somebody accomplish a goal. And you are a tremendous example of what can take place when you apply yourself and just go out and do this, like you said, just do it. And you can improve on something, but until you start, you have nothing to improve on. So we want to make sure that we help you and assist you along that journey and provide the support necessary to actually share your experience in your book with the world, because there's a lot of people out there waiting to receive that. So congratulations on your accomplishment, and I look forward to many more adventures along the way.
Well, I do too. And thanks both. Well, if I can say this publicly, you've been an enormous inspiration and help. And Big Bear agrees with me.
All right. Well, that's great.
Fantastic.
Well, Merrie, we appreciate it so much, and we will have you back on when we do this comic book, because that's kind of a whole different thing, and it's going to be a different approach. And so we'll be working on that. And then, like you say, I feel like there may be more baby bear stories to come, and more adventures for him and Martha. And so we thank you so much for being on the show today, and we wish you the best of luck at Comic-Con. I think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised at how many people are going to want to come and get your autograph and and get your stuff. So look for Merrie's book. It's going to be available on sale next Sunday. Next week, we're going to do a special deal next week for about a week, and so you'll be able to find it. It's Merrie Spaeth. I'm going to spell that because some of our people are listening on the podcast. It's Merrie, Merrie Spaeth, Spaeth. Okay, so look that up. And the title is Baby Bear Comes Back. So you'll be able to put any of those in the search engine for Amazon and it'll take you to the product page. And then we'll be adding that to the show notes, so you can always come back here and you can find that. Look for the cover. There's the front cover of that with our wonderful baby bear. And so if you see that on the Amazon product page, click on that and go there and purchase that next week. If you've got children or grandchildren, this is going to be a fabulous book for them that you're going to want to read over and over and over again.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And Merrie, congrats and cheers on your adventures, and look forward to future conversations and also updates in the future when you come back on the show.
Great. Thanks both.
All right. Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Take care, everyone.